What's been going on?
Hey Scott, how are you? Thank you
Hello, hello.
for the wonderful intro. Brad, how's your mic, pal?
Hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. I hear you pretty well.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining our twice a month, otherwise known as bi-weekly, Trade Ideas Q&A webinar. We love to present to you. Brad and I here, we focus on innovation, showing you things that we've added to the software, directions that we're moving, get you caught up really on some of the new features. And again, it's a wonderful chance for us to communicate plainly to our venture capital people. That's you guys, subscribers, because we did Trade Ideas completely without any venture capital money. You are our source of funding and you are the speed of our innovation. We are grateful for that. And we will continue to thrive, of course. Nothing that you see from Trade Ideas is any recommendation to buy or sell any securities. If you need specific recommendations from somebody like a registered investment advisor, please seek those that are specific and known to the investment advisor that you are looking for a recommendation. Everything you hear and see from Trade Ideas is for informational and educational purposes only.
Although we may take our own advice, potentially.
We do. Brad, let's move on here. As you guys know, this is a slide we often show in the beginning, and I say every time that we need to update the slide because we're going to be on the Inc. 5000 for the 6th year in a row, a very impressive achievement by all normal standards. And of course, you guys know that Trade Ideas is a company that develops all of its software in-house, made in the USA by our US-based development team. We don't outsource this stuff. It's all for the home team. So let's talk a little bit, Brad, about today's webinar. And before we jump in there, what I want to just kind of discuss is some very, very high-level stuff. We're going to be talking a little bit today about the new execution panel. We're going to be, as Brad shows you in the slide, we're going to give you a version to download. I believe, isn't that 5.6, rather 7.6?
You know, I did. I went off my memory, but it's the only one on the website. It is 7.6, I believe.
Right. I just want to make sure that this is correct. We're going to talk about the features that we've been continuing to work on, just highlighting things that you need to be aware of. We're going to showcase a little bit of the AI and some of the new functionality within the software that you hopefully will download, including things that are in the docking windows and buy and sell buttons. These are all things that Brad's showing on the slide.
And we'll go through this live in real time with the software.
Of course. The thing that I wanted to communicate really is that we have a division that's focused on the charting and the visualization of the software. Brad and I are continuing to work on the race data. And again, a lot of you, since you're sort of on versions behind us, we sometimes take for granted that you're seeing what we're seeing, but we're a little bit ahead. Your races are going to be improving a lot, and they're even going to be improving compared to what you're going to see in this version, because again, we've just been doing things behind the scenes, and one of the things that Brad and I will demonstrate is the improved speed of the charting, of course. I think a lot of you will be happy about it, and as we discussed, I think the last time we were here on our Q&A, we have expanded Trade Ideas market hours to start at 1 a.m., I believe it is, Pacific time, Brad, right?
That's right, yeah, 1 a.m. Pacific.
And how far do we go on the close?
That's 5 p.m. Pacific.
5 p.m. Okay. So
non-standard hours. I mean, we're on the West Coast, but yeah, you can translate to Eastern time.
That's right. So that's the highlight of today's presentation, is going over some of this new functionality in the version 7.6. So, oh yes, and an improved risk management mode in the AI. So Brad, I think we're ready to kind of jump right into it. And you know, you pick whichever one you start, and you know, you do one, maybe I'll talk a little bit about the other. Something, you know, Brad, if I may, And you know, when I say if I may,
You may.
I want to. Now, don't worry, I don't want to do it. I just want to tell you that something that jumped right at me that I really like is your buy and sell buttons on the chart.
Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit about that because it's not just the graphical element that we augmented. We really made it a little bit easier to get going for the first time. You know, once you've got it set up, it's really super easy to get out there and place your stop limit order and fire off a trade right from the chart. But if you hadn't done it before, setting up might be a little bit more cumbersome. But now you can just click on that button, and if you're not set up, it'll direct you where you need to go to get it all efficiently set up. So before I start though, let's do this. Let's go right to this little web page right here, direct you to the download button. You know, you want to go to this download page, scroll all the way to the bottom. We do have a sale. And you're going to want to go ahead and download this beta version, 5.576. So be aware of that, please. All right, so let's do that. Let's talk a little bit about the buy button on the chart and the sell button on the chart and how that correlates with our Brokerage Plus. Really simple. So if you just click on the buy button, I've already got it configured. I'll show you how that is set up. My cursor turned into a crosshair here, so it's waiting for me to do something, waiting for me to pick a price point. And I'm going to pick a price point that hasn't been hit yet, so something a little bit higher than it's currently trading, speculating that if that stock happens to move to that price, I want to get into it. I want to get into it with the predefined share size that I've already put into my Brokerage Plus. And in addition, this is a custom order that I set up, which is automatically putting my stop at the low of the day. So entering into a stop limit price above where it is now, put my protective stop, automatically done just by hitting that buy and selecting my price. So let me just kind of slide over my Brokerage Plus right here. And I want to highlight the strategies tab. So I'm going to actually move that up to the top here so we can get a better look at it. So in the strategies tab, if you look over here on the far right two columns, I have two strategies that are turned on. One is my default long strategy and one is my default short strategy. Those are tied into that buy and sell button on the chart. So when I hit that buy, this is my default long, when I hit that buy, it's really looking at putting in an order of $5,000, the equivalent of $5,000 of stock, and that'll be the share count that I have. And I also, if I go into that particular trading strategy, I go over to the risk management tab. This is where I have my stop in here. So this is where I can define that. You can go through all the different tabs, and really it's pretty self-explanatory. The entry time, that's not specific to the chart because we do offer a few other ways to use this trading strategies. I could automate a trading strategy if I want, and I would use this mechanism to do that. But suffice it to say, what you really want to be aware of is you want to make sure that you have your order details set up here, how I want to get into the position. I'm preferring to do $5,000 worth, but we've got other options here. I could say 100 shares, or I could say I only want to lose $50 on the trade, and in both of those will size me accordingly. I have a good till date, good till time on here. I can say I want to leave that trade out there for 5 minutes and change, or whatever configuration value you want to use. So that's the strategies tab. And I usually have this on my system. I usually have the strategies tab closed, so I'm not really looking at it. But you can just add it in there anytime you want.
Brad, let me add one thing for everybody that's watching, and if you're even a little bit intimidated by Brad's screen, number one, I mean, Brad has a fairly advanced layout for himself because he and I, as many other people who have been doing this for over 10 years, we're quote unquote expert users. But everything that Brad is showing you here is in our education section. You can always ask any of our education personnel at Trade Ideas, and of course there's tons of videos on this all over Trade Ideas. So I just want to make sure that you don't feel like, oh my gosh, what is this, how can I do it? It's a lot easier than you think. So
to be fair, I mean, we're drilling right into one of the most complex areas of the software, and that's the direct integration with trading and getting your order out to the marketplace. So we're not a broker. We link up with right now a couple different brokers. We are integrated with Interactive Brokers as well as E-Trade through Brokerage Plus. So you can automatically send your orders right through those two brokerages, right through our platform here. And you can do it through Brokerage Plus. Once you have it set up, you could even just right click on a particular symbol in any of the windows here, and you could go ahead and trade it. That didn't show up because I've got it on my other screen, but let's do it this way. So based on the different defaults that I have set up in my Brokerage Plus, these are the different options that I could get to very quickly from my right-click menu. But you know, trade ideas, it's really kind of a soup to nuts application. You could use this just for idea generation. You could use it for just charting. You could use the combination of it, and then you could use it to send your orders to the broker. You don't need to use all of those different components of it to get value out of the software. I mean, this is really, it's an idea generation platform that we added on all these extra benefits to be able to get those orders and trades to the market very quickly and efficiently. So right here on my, I've got that order here. I could just click on it. I could delete it. It'll remove both my buy as well as my stop in there. And so very quickly, I can put that order out there. I could also change it. I could manage it just by moving those orders around visually here on the chart, or like I just did, I can just cancel it on the screen. A couple other things that we did with the chart here. We've enhanced this button bar right here to be able to get right to the different chart types that we offer through the right-click menu. So in this right-click menu, I've got select chart style, and I could go in and I could customize my chart with the type that we're looking at. We're looking at candlestick, but we've got these other chart types, and then we could get right into the visual customization where I could define my background, the candle colors, the outline, you know, all that good stuff. But what I can do, once I've set that up, I can just go right here, and if I wanted to take a look at an area chart, I can go right into the area chart or into any of the other chart types that we have. So we've made it really easy to change the time frame. We have it available in the right click if that's where you're used to, but you can also, you know, use this button bar up at the top to be able to get to some of the other options.
Brad, do you have after hours enabled on your 5-minute?
I do. You can see that right here.
Okay, very good. Now I was going to say that you can see some of the ticks on the candle building and moving. Maybe, Brad, if you change it to like 1 minute, they could even see the updates more quickly. But this is demonstrating the speed improvements that we made in the charting for you guys. So now you should be able to really, even though again, it's after hours and a little bit after the close, but you can see it building there in real time. So that's an improvement, and people have been giving us very good feedback about that.
Yeah, and it's no wonder that, you know, we're looking at Veru right here, which is really doing very well after hours, you know, but during the market, you know, if I take this back to like a 5-minute chart, you know, you can see it's had a fantastic day. If you look at, in fact, it's the top of my list right here in the wide range bar. I'm just looking at some of the metrics here, and, you know, it had a very, very large daily bar, a little over 3 times its normal size. You can't really tell with my area chart, but let me turn it into something like this right here. And so you can see that daily bar. Oh, hold on. We got daily bar is much bigger than normal, and this has had a real nice run in the last 3 days. But that's an important metric, and I use that quite a bit. It's also had tremendous relative volume, 15 times its normal volume. And you can see here the last 3 days, it's had incredible volume compared to its normal statistical range. It also, you know, closed on the high of the day. You can see by my range indicator here, this is my position in the day range, letting me know where it is in relationship to its intraday high and low. So clearly it closed on its very high. So it's not surprising that it's doing this kind of activity after hours. And that's kind of what you look for. You look for these different metrics. I mean, in addition to the fact that it was up 42%, I mean, that's huge. A lot of the windows that I look at really do pull in some of these really interesting metrics. You know, relative volume, I think, is really one of my favorite ones, because for me, when I'm looking at a particular setup, if it's happening on volume, there's just a little bit more confirmation that I may get some follow through out of that. So it's
and
really
Brad, you know, one of the things when I see your layout, and this is a reminder to all of you guys, that there's really 2 concepts to working with trade ideas. And of course, Brad could always take a layout from the channel bar, and I do that most of the time because I'm kind of working to feel what the end user's feeling. But Brad also has an amazing layout that he made himself and you can do that too, is what I'm trying to say. So
Dan,
you can,
and honestly, Dan, I made this layout from the different windows that exist on our channel bar, right? So you'll find this derived data stream in one of the channels. You'll find this most upward momentum right now in one of the channels, which this is an incredible window here, which is looking at, I had this running all day. So essentially what it's doing is it's telling me how many times these stocks made new highs. And I have it sorted on this count column so that the stock that's making the most highs during the day, not going up the most per se, but making the most number of new high alerts, it's going to rise to the top right here. And so this is a great ranked list of stocks that, you know, really had a lot of new highs and had some great momentum throughout the day.
and Brad, you know, we're gonna, just like we added the racing functionality, we're gonna make a really cool graphic screen exactly for that data set that Brad's talking about, stocks that are making new highs and the number of new highs they make, in addition to stocks making new lows and the number of new lows that they make. So that people can really see where, let's say, the waves are. You know, it's like the difference between being in the ocean where you don't know when the set's coming, and when you go to one of these fancy wave pools that they make now for surfers, is you know when the wave's coming. And that's kind of the way we're technologically contemplating this new graphic module that's going to come into Trade Ideas, very visually stimulating, and of course taking advantage of the faster data that we're showing you in this Q&A demo. Sorry to interrupt, Brad. Go right ahead.
No, that's all good. That's right. And you know, a couple other things. I think this happened in the previous version. So if you missed the last QA or the one before, we were highlighting it. We've got on our chart, we're showing earnings data. You can see here, this is earnings today before the market opened. So we knew that was happening here. Tomorrow, you're going to actually see that earnings, what is it? It's kind of a beam of light and that icon that's going to be present here on the daily chart. So you'll know that this particular day it had earnings, which is really nice from a historical perspective. As you're trading a stock, you can see exactly how that reacted to that last earnings report. So let me do another thing, because I got a lot of stuff open there. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about Brokerage Plus in this order entry panel, because this is a pretty big enhancement to the software, not only from the order entry panel, but the ability to customize it, and really to customize the other order functions inside of Brokerage Plus. All of these buttons here on the right will be customizable. You know, we'll have the defaults set up just as they are, but if you want to say buy 500 shares at market, you can set that up in a button. So it'll be really, really flexible in that regard. When you're putting an order out here, we have a couple of different options here to be able to set a time stop right here on the order entry panel, as well as doing some conditional orders on there as well, putting that stop loss in there at the same time as putting your order out there, putting your trade out there, as well as putting a profit target. So you can do both of those simultaneous to sending your order. And then, you know, we're making it a little bit fancy from the perspective of, you can see very quickly if I've got my buy engaged, if I've got my sell engaged before sending that order to the market.
And the real-time data.
Pardon, Dan?
And don't forget about the real-time data in the middle there, which we
and the real-time data in the middle, which, you know, you can use to lock in a price if you want. You know, by clicking one of those, it turned it from a market, which is my default, right to a limit at that price. And we'll be able to customize exactly what your increments are for each one of these. For your quantity, you'll be able to customize those increments. And of course, if you wanted to do it in dollars, I could put $5,000 here, and then it will decide exactly how many shares at this $17.95 price will make up that $5,000. So we're excited about this order entry panel. It'll be pretty helpful.
I mean, again, you just pointed out to me one of the things that I think you and I were the ones talking about. Maybe describe the bottom messaging panel, because that's really
so the bottom messaging panel is really nice if you're setting up an order to be executed, right? So I just clicked on GME right here. It loaded it into my order entry panel, and it's really giving me the simple English description as to what would happen if I went ahead and hit send right now. You know, if I change this to 500, if I change this to a limit price, you know, all of this would change down here at the bottom. And when I hit send, it'll go ahead and tell me that it's sending the order, and it'll tell me when it's been completed.
And Brad, maybe if you do the dollars there, you'll see that we actually show you the share amount in that messaging column. column, row.
Yep. So let's see, $5,000 of GME would be 33 whopping shares. But
Yeah,
you
so
can do a lot with 33 shares, to be honest with you. All right. So, that was pretty much it for Brokerage Plus. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but this is really exciting, and you should have fun with it.
Well, I think, Brad, one of the things that we're showcasing there is that slowly from the component up, we're kind of redoing this whole screen of Brokerage Plus. We're going to make it, again, much more visually stimulating. And maybe this is a good opportunity to jump into the AI and just kind of show about the different modes in there.
Sure. So let's open up a docked channel bar. For me, it's kind of the quickest way to get right to the AI screen. We've got it all pre-configured for you, so you can see the different strategies that triggered today and the different trades that triggered today. I've got this set up right now in profitable mode. I think what I want to do is I want to change this to any profitable trades, since we just added that functionality here. So this right here is going to show me any profitable trades, depending on, it doesn't matter what that time frame is, whether it's conservative, moderate, or aggressive. If one of those is profitable, it'll show you that. If I uncheck it, you're going to get all the trades. And there were only 2 today, so there weren't that many. Let me pop in one here, and you can see the AI smart risk gradient that we've added on here. And I don't know if you have this window maximized on your screen, and you can kind of see it pixel per pixel, you'll be able to see that there's really multiple shades of gradient here. So we've got the call was right here where this blue line is, right, at 69.29. And you can see the profit moving up. You can see exactly where the stop loss is. And based upon my AI settings, what I've got in here at $5,000 per trade. And by the way, you can go ahead and change that right from the tools, options, AI trade size, and set it to whatever you want right here. And that will reflect here on your chart as well. So not only will it reflect the number of shares right here, it'll also reflect from a profitability perspective based upon those shares and your defined value that you're using. So I was saying that you can see the gradient goes up for profitable, it goes down for your losses. Draws a line right here at your stop, lets you know exactly what you'd be losing. And then, like I said, there were 2 different gradient zones here. You can probably see the break in the red better right here. This is what we call our conservative profit mode. Essentially, it's really the time frame that was used to optimize these strategies. It may have been an hour, may have been 2 hours, but you can see we got out of it right here. This was a timed exit. You can see the reason why we got out of it, timed exit. But that, at this point, it's up to you to decide whether you want to follow this AI conservative mode or whether you want to look at the broader market, see that the market is really continuing to have some follow through, and maybe you want to stick in it a little bit longer. Really, at the end of the day, though, it probably got you out right at the same spot. So there's a lot of room here for your own trading prowess to really pick the most optimal part to get out of.
And don't forget that when you're doing this, everything that Brad's demonstrating, you can do this in simulated trading that is fully enabled inside of Brokerage Plus when you subscribe to Trade Ideas. And as Brad and I have said on many, many occasions, he and I are avid golfers, me being much better. And to us, the simulated, I made Brad laugh there. Did you guys see that? The simulated trading mode is like the driving range for professional golfers. You got to work on your strokes. There's the short game, long game, putting. It's very similar with trading. There's the long game, the buying, the short game, the speculating on the downside. There's the risk management. And if you attempt to jump in with the real money, it's like not unlike trying to qualify for the US Open, after you break 90 the first time and you think, oh my gosh, this is easy. It's not easy. So what you want to do is you want to continually, constantly educate yourself and practice. The good traders, the good investors, they're practicing all the time. And this is what our simulated trading environment is best utilized. You can take the AI and you can actually automate it in simulated trading and then kind of feel what it's like to go from signal to trade with your size. Maybe the only problem for you is that you're oversized. So then you can, okay, you know what, I didn't like having to risk $1,000 on any trade. Maybe I'll switch it to 500 or maybe 100. It doesn't matter. But the point is, in simulated trading mode, you can practice all of that. And I want to just encourage everybody, because it's so easy to forget, because as Glenn Fry says, the lure of easy money, it has a very strong appeal. Smuggler's blues. Everyone wants to play with the real money because it's the FOMO, fear of missing out. But there is nothing to miss out. There's always going to be another trading day. What you want to do is you want to really take advantage of the simulated trading.
Sorry, yeah, you want to do that because I think you said it really. It's that position sizing that's critical. You have to know yourself. You have to know what makes you, what makes you not act in your normal way. You know, if you're sizing yourself too much, you're just not going to be, you're not going to have the peace of mind and the presence of mind to trade this stock the way that you really should. You're going to have this emotional angst on you that's going to change everything. And so using this.
And Brad, you point out a critical component there, and I think it's, you know, if there's anything people can take away from this one Q&A webinar, it's this little bit of information that Brad said. It's oftentimes counterintuitive. People think that the key to success in trading is picking the right direction, both up or down. And even picking the right stop loss, again, in either direction. But that is not always the case. It's the counterintuitive things like, well, what size are you? You know, if you bought in 100 shares, let's say, and it went up, and then it comes back to your buy price, but you, because you understand how you trade, know that you scale into a position, well, that's a great opportunity to double down, just like there is a strategy to do that in blackjack. Not all the time, right? But on certain cards, it is the profitable thing to do. And you've got to learn the blackjackiness of the market. And position sizing is really a component that you can't fathom until you do it in practice. And it's one of the most critical things to being a successful self-directed investor.
It's huge. And it's not just like, let's just say your comfortable size is like $5,000 equivalent position. You know, if that stock is up 50% for the day, that same $5,000 that you would apply to a normal trade may not be the same $5,000 you would want to apply to something that's up so much. And that's where scaling in might be, you know, this is why the simulated trading is really so valuable. And I use it all the time. In addition to my live trading, I put on a couple positions because I want to see what's happening. I don't always have the time to be sitting there watching it, but if I come back an hour, 2 hours later, I can kind of see, was I spotting this correctly? Am I on? Sometimes you're just not on, and it'll be reflective in your simulated, it'll be reflective in your live account everywhere, and you should just know that about yourself.
Well, you know, Brad, you're bringing me right back to an important analogy that I use. Well, I actually just heard it, I think, watching the Masters. And people were talking about that one of the things that the pros do when they are in a tournament is they just focus on playing what they know they can do. And how do they know that? Well, when they go to the range, they know which shot's coming through. You know, and sometimes like it's one, but sometimes it can change. You know, you can't always hit a draw and you can't always hit a fade. The pros know that, and so then they play, as Brad said, within themselves, to themselves. This is the same thing. Like, you should know, based on how you do in simulated trading, can you handle a $1,200 loss? And you almost have to think about that, like in terms of, well, this is simulated, so my heart rate's not going up, I'm not in panic mode, but you know you would be if it was real money, so you have to kind of almost do even more commitment to the simulated environment. And by the way, the simulated is great for whether you're scalping, momentum, swing, any kind of trading.
I think it's great that if you want to try the automation part and you want to create a strategy using an alert window and whatever it is that you want to do, and you want to put that into Brokerage Plus and see, wow, if I was to trade every time I got an alert here with these certain parameters, how would I be doing? And you can just set that up in your simulated trading, just like you can do with the AI automation. I don't necessarily recommend just automating AI, but I think that using that, putting it in the simulated mode to give you a sense of exactly how it performs and what type of frequency it is. I think that's really important. So it's another great way to use the simulated trading area.
Yeah, very important.
So while I have this window up right here, let me show you something that we've recently added to the stock race. And that is this top 10 mode right here. I had this thing, like I said, running all day. So I've got, if I turn this into I right click here and I select here, open, show all winners. This is kind of the standard way to view it. So every time there's a race and there's a winner, it's going to appear on top right here. Like I said, it's been running all day. So from here, I can just right click and then show the top 10. If the next winner isn't one of the top 10, you're just not going to see it. But once it reaches that threshold of 2 or 3 victories, it'll start to appear on here and rise up through the ranks.
And,
so I usually...
That's a very important thing to be able to do, because you're really then just focusing on what's winning a lot. And that can give you signals for the next day. So once again, it's just a improved view mode, or another, maybe not specifically improved, but certainly another way to view this data. And we are working hard to make this just such the must-have. If you aren't looking at races, you're really missing out on an immense amount of information. So make sure you're watching them.
Yeah, and there are different ways to use the races. This particular instance that you're looking at, I have this all in one dock panel. Because it's my Brokerage Plus, everything kind of relates to the positions that I'm in, whether it's the top list right here, well, all with the exception of the halt and resumes. But my stock races right here are all looking to my symbol list of positions, ones that I've recently traded, some that I'm currently in. So they're all being used to populate these races. So when something starts to run here, it could give me the notion that either a comfort position because I know I'm in it, or maybe it's something that I want to add to because I see that it's winning here, or I take a losing race and maybe it's something that I want to add to on the pullback. These are all different ways to use that data, but we have other ways, like if I go into my new docked channel bar right here and I pull up, any one of these other races, like this stock race right here, this is being specific to these most talked about stocks, this race right here. And so every race is a little bit different. I think I like this one here. This price and volume is a great one because it's not only looking at price action, but it's looking at increasing relative volume. So, as a stock is really starting to trade more and that relative volume is rising from 1 to 2 to 3, that's where you want to be noticing it, not at the time when that relative volume is at 40 and the stock's up 40%. So watching that volume increasing, just like watching the price point increasing, that's where the race is really, really valuable, because it's not just giving you a race of stocks that are up big, although you can have a race like that, but it's really a race of stocks, how they're doing from the moment you started that race. So these are all great candidates here that are doing great for the day, but how are they doing right now is the real question. Let me minimize this over here.
Yeah, and
again,
notice,
brought up this dock channel bar. Let me bring in another new channel that we've just added to our channel bar, and it's not the explosive winners. Hold on. It's the trader's eye right here. And these are, we've got a team of traders on staff. They help and support. They come up with ideas for the software, but they're also curating ideas throughout the day. And so using our software, they're always trading too, and using our software, they're curating this list so that only stocks that are really in play for a nice swing opportunity are going to be present here. So it's just another way. A lot of these other windows are looking at specific technical factors. The stock is up big for the day, or it's doing tremendous volume for the day, or it happens to be an energy stock. But this right here is a curated list, very similar to actually
by people.
Curated by people. And we do have another one in here. Keeps moving down. Barry's watch list. So Barry's got this trading room, but he's also maintaining these stocks that are in play during the day. And this particular channel is a great way, aside from going to our trading room, this is another great way to see exactly what Barry's looking at, what he's thinking in the marketplace is moving, and you can follow him right here. And there's a race that's specific to those stocks as well. So it's not
Yeah.
just some random race that you're seeing here. It's a very specific race.
Yeah, Brad, I think let's quickly just verbally go over what we've talked about. I'll do it and you tell me what I've missed. We discussed the buy and sell buttons that are visible there, that they're a lot easier now for you to trade off of the charts. And I don't remember how do we have them in aftermarket? It's probably not that great, right?
What was your question? I'm sorry, I spaced out
The
of it.
buy and sell buttons, like for demo and aftermarket, because again, I want to showcase people more of how it's done,
No,
but
you can absolutely do that. You can do that aftermarket, because what you're not doing is you're not putting out market orders using these buy and sell buttons. These are all stop limit orders or limit orders that we're placing out there, and you can do that after hours.
so why don't we show them right here and put one, at 140.
Sure. So I'm just hitting the buy button. I've got my crosshairs now letting me know that it wants to do something. I'll move my cursor up and down until it says 140 right there, and I'll just hit my left mouse button. And so I can see, before they actually appeared on the chart, I can come over here and I could see that those orders just like a second or so before appeared right here. And because
And
I've got
Brad,
it set up, yep.
how did you have it so that it really fancily also put in the stop order at the same time without you having to do anything?
Well, you must not have been paying attention.
I'm a C student, Brad.
All right, so on our strategies tab right here, I'll just open it up. So it opens right here. Like I was showing, we have these far right columns, this default long and this default short strategy. I've got it set up, and I'll just click on it and go into it, and I'll edit it and show you what I did. Really, on the risk management tab right here, I just said my stop loss, instead of it being 50 cents or whatever it is, I can make it whatever I want. I wanted it to be a formula. And my formula is, how far is that stock right now above the low? So if it's, let's say the low is $1 and it's right now $1.40 that I'm getting in, well, that's going to be 40 cents, right? So that's going to put that stop right there, 40 cents below. So it automatically calculates it. It knows the low and figures out where it should be putting that.
So
And
that's
similarly, I could put in a target on here. If I wanted to, put a target a couple bucks above, I could do that as well. I don't like doing that myself.
and Brad, the reason I did that is so that people can see that we're really thinking about improving the mechanics, right? Because one of the things that are often missed is that when you make a buy order, well, then you typically have to go and input the sell order. But if you set it up the right way, and again, if you are nervous, our educators can certainly show you. Brad, go back to that other page with the buy and sell buttons. Just showcasing there that where did we go? We did something. I forgot
Oh,
which
I
stock it was.
changed the stock, right? What's the stock we were
Well, that's the
going?
messaging we need, right? And where's that message?
IMPP.
Yep. IMPP, Brad. How could we have put that one in? Okay. And the point is that in one fell swoop, you put in a buy order and automatically put in a sell order. So a lot of times what you can do, and I really love this part about trade ideas there, is once you set this up right, notice the market, of course, is closed, but here what you can be doing is surfing through these ideas and just putting your simulated trades on before they even take place. And of course, Brad can show you, you can click on any one of those, the B or the S, and you can drag it. You can move it down a little bit. You can, they're tactile. So this is the improved chart trading. I highly recommend it. Again, it makes it easy. The only thing is just the little setup in the beginning, but any stock you go to will have this capability. And it's so nice to be able to do this while the market's not open, because you're not getting emotional.
And there's another way you could take advantage of that. Like for me personally, everybody's got their own way to use it. We've got so much functionality here. I looked at, I had no idea what I was pulling up. IMPP sounds like a great symbol, but I look at this here and IPO'd not too long ago, 4 months ago, back in December. Big day coming here in March, right? And then just kind of came back, and it's in this area, and this found some support, just kind of hanging out. Not much. I don't want to play it right now. It's not really that interesting to me. But if it starts to go, and probably not here, but maybe about here, if it gets to 140, I'm interested in it, and I'm going to get a price alert on that. It's going to pop up, and then I can make the decision whether this is something that perhaps I want to participate in right up to $8. I have no idea what that would be, but I
But I
look at
really
that,
like
okay, this is interesting.
I really like the whole notion of doing it unemotionally while the market's not on. So it's almost like when the market's on, you're in position management. And of course, I mean, there's going to be things you initiate, but there's so many things that can just be executing for you based on what you felt unemotionally while the market's closed. And this isn't a way to do that for you. And it's through the new tactile buttons. So Brad, the other thing we discussed was, of course, the improved charting. You already saw that. There's better speed for you there. One thing that we haven't covered yet, Brad, is the docking panel linking.
Yeah, let me show that real quick because it's pretty cool. Let me see. So, okay, so I've got two docked panels that are part of my default layout. I've got one for each of my monitors, and this is my monitor 1, this is my monitor 2 that goes over to my right side. I've got these docks set up here as green. You can see the color icon in here is using the green linking. So all green will stay together, but we've made some enhancements here. Let me pull up, for instance, a new dock channel bar. And I'll pull in any particular, channel. It doesn't really matter. Well, these now are all pink, and that's indicating that everything that is pink is going to be linked together. So let me minimize this so you can see this is my green charting, this is my pink. If I was to select a symbol here, it's only going to stay in this particular universe here. I could change it if I wanted to, and I could say, all right, well, let's make this green as well. If I want to keep this, with my particular layout. So I would just go to symbol linking groups right here. I would select all the different windows inside of that, and then I would change it and pick a color. Maybe I want that to be green as well. So then I'll set them all to green. I'll close it. And now when I click on a symbol, all my windows will update. But we've done something pretty cool here as well. So for instance, if I open up another dock window, and just add something to it here. And I'll just move it a little bit. Once everything comes in, I'll move it over. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit a symbol here. This just stays within this universe right here. It's not in this dock window. It's not in my personal one. So it's just a very, very efficient and customizable way to keep your windows linked with the windows that you want linked. So not everything.
And I think that was the only thing that we had missed from the list that we did before the presentation. So again, docking window linking is a new improvement there. We talked about the racing improvement with a new view of the top 10, very critical. Please, ladies and gentlemen, use the simulated trading. It will help you immensely. Upgrade to the new version that's on the website. As Brad and I said, it's 0.76, version 5.5. There's so much innovation on the way. The pipeline is strong. And again, we're not stopping. So check out the stock racing if you want more information on it, trade-ideas.com, stock race, but we kind of covered that today. It's really a great way to view many things at once. Next slide, please, sir. Yes, yes, and yes. Please don't subscribe to Trade Ideas. You guys are already subscribed, but don't subscribe to Trade Ideas if you can't afford $7.50 a day. That means stock trading is not the right thing for you, and I just helped you an immense amount. Okay, if you can't handle a $750 day swing, stock trading, not the correct business for you. Otherwise, please feel free to join us and many other self-directed investors around the world that are taking advantage of Trade Ideas. Of course, spring is here. Here's our promo code for 20% off your first month for a year off of Trade Ideas. Support. Everything that Brad and I covered, some of it could seem fancy, but you can certainly get completely detailed training on it through our support sessions that are available all the time on weekdays, and of course through email and all other forums. Trade-ideas.com/live take advantage of this. We have the best supporting team in fintech. Of course, Barry, one of those people, leads our trading room, a meritocracy of advanced trade ideas users, and many people who are just trying to get a feel for it on every single day, rain or shine, like the mailman. That's our Barry. Trade-ideas.com/trading room. As Brad and I had mentioned to you before, we're fully integrated with 2 brokers, one for fancy-wancy advanced trading, that's interactive brokerage. Okay, you can do lots of advanced stuff through IB and Trade Ideas. And of course, the other one is a 0 commission brokerage option through E-Trade. So that's trade-ideas.com/E-Trade. But again, you can do everything that we showed you in simulation mode live through these 2 brokers, and there probably will be some more on the way. We're very active on social media, TikTok, FaceSpace, Twitter. By the way, if you want to see a good feed on Twitter, follow Trade Ideas on Twitter. I hear that guy's completely crazy.
I hear the same thing.
I hear the same thing. And we have other Trade Ideas Twitter accounts, all of those that you see here. And of course, like us everywhere. We appreciate that on InstaFace and the other Metaspace. Am I getting these right? I'm over 50.
I don't know. I'm too old.
We're too old for this, really. Ask questions to our many people in support who are around this world at info@trade-ideas.com, and you'd be surprised. Some people are up at 3 to 4 in the morning, whichever time it is, to answer your questions, because we know that's when you're up. We thank you for taking your time out of the day and listening to our Q&A. Please continue to support us. We are grateful for all of you that came in to see us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Scott?
All right, sounds good. Keep tuned for the archived version on your YouTube channel tomorrow. So get an email reminder tomorrow with a link to where that is located. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.